Are they the real contenders?
Stephen A. Smith, you better buckle up for this one because I'm going to gloat just a little bit here. Yes, they are the real deal. And yes, I am starting to love this football team on offense as well as on a defense that once again created 5 more takeaways last night in Pittsburgh. I did not love it that the defense allowed Ben Roethlisberger to throw for 406 yards, but I suggest to you that he's going to start doing that to a whole lot of folks down the stretch, which is why I am not writing off the Steelers just quite yet. But I am starting to love that Jay Cutler and his offense went on the road, on the national stage, on NBC Sunday Night Football, and created 0 turnovers, which suggests to me, Stephen A. Smith, that Jay Cutler is starting to grow up under new head coach and coordinator Mark Trestman. Now, what I loved the most last night was that when all of a sudden your Pittsburgh Steelers seemed to have re-seized the momentum, cut the lead to 27-23, Jay Cutler turned into Jay Clutchler once again. He saved this team again, just as he had done against the Bengals and the Vikings at home in the 4th quarter. Stephen A. Smith, 3rd and 10 at the 26. Uh-oh, what's going to happen? Cutler takes off running, but not only did he run, as you suggest, and you're open to this, he ran over the Pittsburgh safety, Robert Golden, 5'11", 202 pounds. He dump trucked him. I saw him do that again and again for his 2 years that he started at Vanderbilt University to SEC linebackers and safeties, which is why, Stephen A., that I have always defended Jay Cutler on this show against all the critics, and I can't remember if I should include you in this, who ripped him for not playing the second half of the NFC Championship
game. That would be me.
Against the bad man that it was Aaron Rodgers, who was just bad on that afternoon also.
While he was riding, he couldn't play, couldn't drop back to pass, but could ride a bicycle.
But he can run over safeties, which brought his team out of its shoes last night. And then later in that drive, it gets to 3rd and 12 at the 37. Boom, 41 yards to his football soulmate, Brandon Marshall. Later in that drive, 3rd and 5 at the 17, still a game, still hanging in the balance. Boom, to his former Vanderbilt Commodore Earl Bennett. That's 2 Vanderbilt references in the A block of this show, which I love. And all of a sudden, that was the clinching TD. So yes, Stephen A. Smith, to sum it up for you, the Bears are for real a threat to the Packers in that division.
Well, you can believe what you want to believe. All right, I'm not going to knock you for that, and this is a good day for you to gloat because it won't last long. I believe. Oh,
you're suggesting they're a mirage.
I believe in the Bears' defense, particularly their playmaking abilities. I mean, they will force turnovers big time. I mean, what is this like? Since the start of 2012, like their 10th turnover return for a touchdown. I mean, this defense makes it happen. It's what they do. So in that regard, they're elite. You know, basically feeding off the days of Lovie Smith as their head coach. There's no doubt about that, and they deserve a lot of credit for that. Offensively, I've got a lot of faith in Brandon Marshall. Let's see what Forte continues to do or what have you. He didn't have a big day rush. 16 rushes, 87 yards. Not bad. Had a 55-yard run. Can't be dismissed. No doubt about that. Brandon Marshall, we know what a stud he is, even though the numbers last night didn't indicate that. Just 5 receptions for 52 yards. But clearly this offense is going to go where Jay Cutler takes them. And I'm not a believer in Jay Cutler. Do I believe he's a scrub? Absolutely not. I know he's got an arm. I know he's got skills. He's got talent. I also know he's got heart simply because of how he's been subjected to the punishment he's been subjected to for years because they never had an offensive line protecting them. The Steelers only recorded 2 sacks last night. So obviously they did a decent enough job of protecting them against Dick LeBeau's, blitz and defense. And he deserves a lot of credit for that. But do I believe that Jay Cutler and the Chicago Bears are going to supplant San Francisco, regardless of their recent troubles? No. Do I believe they're going to supplant Seattle? No. Do I believe that they're going to supplant Green Bay? I'm still not sold on that, even though I'm not happy with Green Bay today. Wait,
how about Dallas, the best team in the conference right now?
Well, let me say this to you. Let me say, well, yeah, they'll find a way to get over Dallas. I mean, the accident waiting to happen. I mean, it's just inevitable what's going to happen to Dallas. But I look at Atlanta, Green Bay, Seattle, and San Francisco, regardless of their record, regardless of their recent struggles, all having an edge over Chicago when it counts, except in the case of Atlanta. I do not trust them away from the Georgia Dome at all, and we'll get into that a little bit later on in the show.
Okay, how about as a threat to Green Bay right now?
I think they are a threat to Green Bay, but we all knew that coming into the season. I mean, you picked them to win the NFC North. I picked Green Bay.
I ended up picking Green Bay also.
Oh, you did pick
I backed out.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
Because Brandon Marshall looked like he wasn't right.
Got you with the hip. With the hip. I remember now. And, of course, I'm going to stick with Green Bay. I guess what I'm thinking along the lines of is if somehow, some way, a wild card comes out of the NFC North, even if it's Green Bay as opposed to Chicago being in that wild card spot, I think Green Bay could go to Chicago and beat them. They've done it before. I think they could do it again.
Okay.